So, good morning, Dave, and welcome to Pharmacoms TV. Thanks so much for joining us today. Can you start off maybe by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your current role?
Great, Andrew. Well, thanks a lot for having me. It's a case that I've been working in digital for the last 25 years. Right now, I'm group lead for digital planning at Roche. And it's very interesting times, I think, from the point of view of digital and kind of working in this space.
Can you tell us about the current pandemic, how that's really affected the acceleration of digital transformation and remote patient care for you guys within Roche?
So I think if we look at the purpose within Roche, kind of doing now what patients need next, it's a case that this is really accelerating how we work. And one of the key things is that during the pandemic, we've seen, and especially at the affiliate level, that they've really reached out to startups to find solutions to figure out how can we actually serve the patient better end to end. And because of that, it's actually kind of going into the second year of it. It's a case that we're in that situation where we can really build upon that momentum and serve our patients better.
So you talk about engaging with industry and working with startups. What sort of digital transformation tools do you see as becoming the most prominent for you guys in the industry?
So I think we're at that stage right now where artificial intelligence is really coming into its own. It's something where, that's really a place where we can actually apply to a lot of different problems, as long as we're smart about actually how we think about approaching those problems and solving them. So for instance, if I look at like, for instance, how do we get involved with working with a startup, for instance, that's already got a solution for something in AI, it really comes down to four big factors. First thing is that there's relevant data. It's something where if we don't actually have diverse and rich information to go into the system, then it's just not going to have enough to actually to come out with something meaningful. The task has to be narrow. It's something where we can't just expect that it's going to go and fix all of our problems and the like. It needs to be something very specific. The concrete goal is necessary. It needs to measure something and it needs to be able to see if it's actually working or not. And lastly, the algorithm itself. So it's a case that, and that's what we go to startups for. They've actually figured out a very specific problem, and that's something we want to leverage that within our end-to-end delivery.
What I love to see is practical examples of a list being brought to life with something that maybe you could give us a concrete implementation of. Would you have any examples for the audience?
Yeah, so I think that it kind of runs the gambit from something you can do and use today personally to actually something you can apply to business. So for instance, if you look at the personal side of things, look, and actually I just did it just then, like for instance, you look at like for instance like a coach for actually public speaking. So there's a company called Ore that has an app around that, for instance, and it will actually analyze and go through your speech, things like I've got a problem with fillers. Often I speak too quickly, and it gives you feedback on these on 5 different dimensions. And based upon that, you can actually improve your public speaking. So for instance, if I look at those 4 dimensions that I mentioned before, the relevant data in that is speeches, but also speech critiques on the other hand to kind of match those up. The narrow task is analyzing the speech. The concrete goal is to get better at public speaking by being measured on those 5 dimensions. And the last thing is actually the algorithm, which this company provides. So they actually look at natural language processing. And then based upon that, they can compare that versus, let's say, really good speeches and figure out then how you're doing and give you that impersonal feedback, which is so useful.
So one of the things that we've seen a lot of in our own business in vStream Health is the interest in AI, very specifically when it comes to marketing communications, is around the area of chatbots and automating patient or healthcare professional communications. Have you a view on AI in this in this incarnation and how effective it can be?
So I used to work at the World Wildlife Fund, and about 6 years ago, we actually had a Twitter bot, and it was really stupid. It would just look for a certain hashtag, endangered emoji, pick it up, and then retweet something back to the user. Basically, do you want us to keep contacting you about this or not? Very, very simple. But what was really cool about it was that, like, for instance, it was at a stage where, when you're dealing with a really big account, like, millions of followers, people don't expect to get an interaction. And therefore, that's one thing that I found very interesting about that actual use of chat. Now that's very simple. It's old, But it's a case that I think that right now we're at a very interesting stage where using artificial intelligence and natural language processing, we're actually at the stage where we can actually respond to questions in real time. And it can be very sophisticated, or it can be really stupid, to be honest. But it's something where you have that wide range, and then you can decide what kind of investment you want to make.